let's watch this one which you told me about, Nobik, about how, I guess for some reason, the German in World War II tried to do like a Napoleon movie. By simple history, why the Nazis swapped their Mausers for Muskets in World War II.
This video is sponsored by Magellan TV. Check out their documentary streaming service to learn even more about history from all over the globe. We highly recommend you watch Total War 1943-1944 to witness the disintegration of the Third Reich as encapsulated in Joseph.
I literally just finished, like, 2 days ago. No, actually yesterday. I literally just finished the World War II series by Indie Idles after like months and months of watching it.
Of Goebbels' notorious Total War speech and view a gritty recounting of the German people's crumbling faith in the final days of the Nazi regime. Magellan TV has the most varied content on history available, from ancient civilizations to modern times, and from in-depth biographies to sweeping war stories. You can also dive into their other extensive genres, such as science, true crime, travel, and more. With over 3,000 documentaries, movies, and series, with some available at 4K high def, they have the largest collection out there, and their weekly content drops ensure you'll never run out of things to watch. Simple History viewers can get 30% off an annual membership and a 2-week free trial to be sure you love it first. This is also available to returning members, so if you've let your membership lapse, you can still claim this offer. Click on the link in the description to try Magellan TV now. You'll be glad you did.
10. Thank you.
Why did the Nazis swap their Mausers for muskets in World War II? By the beginning of 1945, the war was going very badly for Nazi Germany, to such an extent that defeat now looked inevitable. In the West, the Allies had just beaten back a large German force at the Battle of the Bulge and were now on the verge of invading Germany itself. While on the Eastern Front, where the Germans had been constantly on the retreat since 1943, they were suffering horrendous casualties at the hands of the Soviet Red Army. Now, the Soviets had just liberated the Polish capital of Warsaw, and the front line on the Eastern Front was almost the same as it had been when the war had started.
Liberated and occupied.
6 years previously. And as for Germany itself, the around-the-clock bombing campaign by the Allies had a devastating effect on the German home front and destroyed most of its industrial capabilities, meaning its wartime production was on the verge of complete and utter collapse. And as for the promised wonder weapons like the V-2 long-range rockets and Me-262 jet fighters that Hitler believed would turn the tide once again in Germany's favor, well, they had never materialized in sufficient enough numbers to achieve this. Nevertheless, among all this chaos and in the ruins of Berlin, a new epic German propaganda film called Kohlberg premiered on January 30th, 1945.
Wait,
it was only shown.
How the fuck did they have time to do a movie like in 43, 44, 45 when like the world is burning and everything is dying? How did they find enough time to make a movie?
At 2 of the city's few remaining cinemas, as well as a special showing to high-ranking Nazi officials that was held at the Reich Chancellery. The film was inspired by true-life events in the Napoleonic War, when in 1807 a large French force besieged the Prussian fortified city of Kohlberg. The script was partly based on an 1865 play by the highly respected Nobel laureate Paul Hesse, though it was ordered that they were
speaking to each other. Yeah, I saw that video.
No mention of him in the film credits due to him being Jewish. The production of this film had started back in the autumn of 1943 when it was decided by the Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels that Germany needed an inspirational historical drama, something along the lines of the American film Gone with the Wind. His aim was to motivate the German civilians to make sacrifices, including, if need be, their lives in the defense of the Third Reich. In the film, the city...
Okay, but why would making a movie about the Napoleonic War really help? Huh? Like, the war of the Napoleonic Wars compared to modern war was so different. Huh? Like, people would watch it, but I don't think they would get the message, no?
The city of Kohlberg is about to be attacked by the French, so the mayor of the city decided to help create a people's army to support the militia in defense of the city against the impending French assault. To do this, the mayor must overcome bureaucracy, cowardice, and apathy, as well as enlist the help of a great military leader in order to lead his people to victory. This role falls to the legendary and charismatic visionary Major Gneisenau. a hero portrayed in the film as a 19th century dashing version
battleship,
of Adolf Hitler himself. Together, they courageously and successfully hold out against a vastly superior enemy army, forcing the French, after a long siege, to give up and withdraw, as they realize that the city and its people are not going to capitulate and surrender. The film advocates that if the German people have the conviction and the willpower to endure hardships,
I guess that makes sense though, because in the recent documentary I was watching about World War II, at the end, toward the end of 44, 45, they were trying to raise like basically like a massive militia, I guess, and they were also giving them like super cheap guns and stuff like that. So I guess this was a propaganda movie to inspire that, but at the same time, what doesn't make sense is that this was like so late in the war where like all the theaters are closed and people probably don't have time to go see a propaganda movie. So like, it just seems like what was even the point of making it?
as well as having unwavering faith in their leader, that victory is always assured, no matter what the odds are. The film was a colossal undertaking and carried out on a truly grand scale. It said as much as 187,000 soldiers, 6,000 sailors, and 4,000 horses were used in the production, at a time when men and resources were badly needed on the front line. It was more likely to have been about 5,000 extras from the military and hundreds of paid civilians.
Is that not the Final Fantasy thing, I think?
Whatever the true facts are, Kolberg did end up being by far the most expensive German film of the Second World War. It's estimated to have cost nearly 8 million Reichsmarks, which in today's value is around $192 million. To put this into perspective, this is over 3 times the budget of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, once you've adjusted for inflation. All of this at a time when war-ravaged Germany was on the brink of total collapse and possible starvation. A major point where the film deviates from true historical fact is the depiction of the events at the end of the film. It was not a glorious Prussian victory in reality at all. The siege actually only ended when the Prussians signed a humiliating peace treaty with Napoleon that heavily favored the French. In reality, the city was nearly destroyed, with half of its buildings being either badly damaged or totally wrecked. For right at the end of the siege, the French bombarded the city with over 6,000 cannonballs in just a 24-hour period. As for the film itself, it would never get a general public release, but oddly, a copy of the movie was parachuted in for the besieged German garrison at the French city of La Rochelle in southwest France to watch at the local theater there. The film was such a morale booster that the garrison defiantly held out for 8 months, despite being totally surrounded by the...
In a weird way, I get it, right? Like, everybody, when you watch some epic war movie, you feel inspired, right? Like, to the death, you know, you feel that feeling, right? It's the meme of, like, men just want to die in battle, which obviously, you know, like, you feel that when you watch a movie, but no, I don't really want to die in battle. But I guess it's crazy to think that this happened, yeah, like in the freaking 40s, World War II, a movie was able to give that kind of feeling to soldiers to, like, inspire them to fight harder.
The Allies. The soldiers there only surrendered on May 7, 1945, when they were ordered to do so, as the German High Command had agreed to the unconditional surrender of all German forces on that day, therefore ending the war in Europe. Most of the cast survived the war, having been exempt from any kind of military service due to their work in the film industry. But there were some notable exceptions. The actor who played the mayor in the film, Heinrich George, was a popular and respected actor who had fallen out of favor with the Nazi regime due to his communist beliefs, though this film seemed to have rehabilitated him in the eyes of the authorities. Ironically, after the war, he was tried by the Soviets and convicted as a Nazi sympathizer and died of starvation in a gulag in 1946. He was 52 years old and the veteran of nearly 80 films. As well as this, there was also the acclaimed actor Werner Schaff, whose role in the film is an Italian general who was an ally of Napoleon and whose character was killed during the siege. Ironically, just a few months later, right at the end of World War II on April 30th, 1945, the day Hitler committed suicide, Schaff was killed in unknown circumstances during the Battle of Berlin. Then there was the female lead of the film, veteran actress Beate Soderbaum. While she was never convicted of any war crimes, her popularity suffered due to her association with a number of Nazi propaganda films, as well as her belief that the Jewish people were polluting German society. She found it hard to get work in the film industry after the war. Therefore, Soderbaum was forced to take on parts in low-budget theater productions, And it wasn't unusual that for a number of years, for her to be booed and pelted with rotten fruit by the audience when on stage.
Good.
Nowadays, the film Kohlberg is seen as an extravagant waste of resources that was hardly seen by anyone at the time of its release. In contrast, at the same time, the Allies were making highly popular screwball comedies and upbeat musicals.
Fair enough. Wait, can I... Is it on YouTube? Oh. Oh, okay. Weird ending. What was it? Kohlberg? Was it the... Wait, what was the name of the movie? Of course they don't list the name. Most popular, top comment. How'd you write it? I just want to see like if there's some footage on YouTube of it. German World War II movie. Napoleon. Operation Napoleon 2023. No. I don't know if I'm gonna find it. Like this, it says Kohlberg or whatever, but I can't quite hear the way he says it. And it seems like if I search for it, World War II movie. The Battle of Königsberg. Oh, Kohlberg. Here we go. Is this the one? 1945.
Mais il n'est pour rien dans la résistance des bourgeois.
Damn. This does look seriously expensive. Holy shit. Okay. Oh yeah, they went crazy with this. Holy shit. Man, it does look crazy expensive. I guess talking about expensive and insane Napoleon movie, there was another one 20 years later or something. In the 70s, I think, the Waterloo movie, right? Where they had like insane amount of like Russian soldier to play actual soldier in the battles and everything. Okay. This is super interesting. I mean, propaganda movie or not, it seems like, you know, just from production value alone, it would be a blast to watch. Okay, very interesting subject. Still insane to me because, you know, I get the point. And I guess it served for like some soldier, but for the most part, yeah. At the time, you know, even getting to watch this movie, there would be so little people to watch it. It feels crazy that they wasted so many people and resources on that when the war was like so lost. It just seems kind of cooked. But I don't think Nazi Germany was known for logical decision, right? So makes sense in a way. Makes sense.